Now, most people at some point have probably been asked the question, what kind of superpower would you like? And a lot of people do say they'd like to read other people's thoughts. Yet this episode, I think it kind of goes to show that you should be careful what you wish for. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, I am a geek and you are watching Kevin the Geek. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe, hit that like button and turn on notifications, and please do consider dropping comments down below. So today we're back for another Torchwood Tuesday. This is Greeks Bearing Gifts. Now we finally get to have an episode focusing on Toshiko, whom I would say that at this point of the Torchwood journey, she's probably the character who I most wanted to delve into. Gwen and Yanto, they didn't really show much, and I wasn't that invested into learning a bit more about them. And Owen, he had a great episode with Ghost Machine. But other than that, I still have not been that kind of actively thinking, yes, I need to learn more about Owen. Here, though, with Tashika, she was a character I really wanted to know more about. But I felt a little bit let down with the episode that was dedicated to her in this season. Now, let's get the main one out of the way, the lesbian thing. I don't know what it is with this initial season with Torchwood, but they seem to want to give every single character a LGBT moment where they end up kissing someone of the opposite sex. By this point, Toshiko is the last person to have it. You've had Owen in the very first episode, you had Eve and Gwen in the second episode, you had Yanto and Jack in the Cyberwoman episode, and now here with Toshiko and Mary. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of it because there was no need for it. You know, it really bugged me and still does. You know, nearly 20 years later, it still bugs me that they chose to do it. If there's a legitimate reason behind it, then I'm like, okay, yeah, fair play. I'm fully on board with it. Like, that's what they seem to be suggesting in Ted Lasso that we're currently watching the season 3 series with that. There's a character in that who seems to be getting that. But for me, that feels like there's an actual purpose and a reason behind it. Whereas here, and pretty much all of them, it just feels like, yeah, let's do it. Let's have a lesbian kissing scene, or let's have two guys kissing. You know, why? Yeah, sorry, I know I'm ranting a little bit there, but it really did bug me. Now let's talk about the actual main kind of point of the episode. Tosh gets a pendant, and she's able to read people's thoughts. And like I said in the cold open, you should always be careful what you wish for. And I think they did a really good job of showcasing the confusion that you would feel when you suddenly get this, and particularly in the manner in which they show it, that you have so many voices sort of overwhelming you. You know, it was really well handled, that aspect of it, and it allowed them to really bring Tosh's mental state into the point of the episode, because nobody knows what people are really thinking. You can say it all you want. You can say such and such and such, but do they really mean it? You can try to predict whether it's something that they do mean or they don't mean, and they're saying what they mean or they're covering what they really feel, but you never know for certain. And here it's a situation that Tosh thinks that she's getting an understanding of how she appears to the team. She's the boring one. She's the quiet one, the shy one who just gets on with her work, and it shows her feeling of isolation. when she doesn't feel that she quite fits in with the rest of the team. You know, she gets on, she does the job and works really hard at it, whereas everyone else, they can be all having a laugh and a joke and have fun and all this kind of stuff. And it's something that I can relate to in jobs that I've had in the past. It is a difficult feeling when you don't quite feel that you fit in. And so it was really good what they did, but something still felt a little bit off for me with this episode. I do still think it is arguably, at this point, I'd say the third best episode of the season. I think Countryside is the best one up to this point, and for me personally, Ghost Machine is a very strong second, and this one I would say just kind of comes in behind that. But it's still not a great episode, but it had a lot of potential and it did what it needed to do reasonably well. Now, I kind of go back to what I said last time out. I don't like or buy the relationship between Gwen and Owen, and here it just kind of, again, at least they're trying to explain it, and because you're kind of hearing some of Gwen's thoughts and Owen's thoughts, you can kind of hear that, you know, for example, Gwen, she's not sure whether she should be doing it, and she is sort of having those moral quandaries. You know, at least they kind of impacted on that a little bit, you know, but it's still not something I really like. And now you've had 2 episodes in a row with Countryside and now Greek Sparing Gifts, where you kind of see that Yanto's still not quite over the events of the Cyberwoman episode and still not over the death of Lisa. Yeah, he mentioned it in Countryside when they're talking about who was the last person they kissed. And then you have that really quite touching scene with Yanto. Kind of, you hear his thoughts, and then he, you know, just asks Toshiko if she wants a cup of coffee.
Can't imagine a time when this isn't everything. Pain so constant, like my stomach's full of rats. Feels like this is all I am now. There isn't an inch of me that doesn't hurt.
And that, I think, it is the biggest plus of this episode, showing how you can have someone who, on the front and on the face of it, they seem like the most perfectly normal person, and they're, you know, being their normal self and they're getting on with their day-to-day stuff, but underneath they're really struggling, they're really suffering. And like I said, I've been there with jobs in the past, and I think it's really important that people are able to open up to their friends, their family, people that they work with. And so, you know, please always do open up, do share if you are feeling down and low. Sorry, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I think it's a very important factor. But yeah, Greek Sparing Gifts. It had its good moments. You know, I think the one scene that I love, which I've kind of forgotten about, was the whole banter scene when it turns out that Owen's diagnosis of, you know, who had been killed and how they'd been killed from this obviously 100-year-old skeleton, and you know, Gwen's having that back and forth with Owen. That bit I do really like.
When was the cause of death? Owen said GSW. The correct answer was
unidentified trauma, but
unidentified trauma.
And at least it shows that, you know, Gwen is now starting to kind of fit into the group. Or is it more so just Owen? She's feeling more comfortable with Owen now because of this sexual relationship that they're now having. And at the same time using it to kind of highlight the sense of isolation that Tosh kind of feels that she doesn't feel fit in. Whatever the purpose was of that, it was a really good scene. So please do join me again for all my future reviews. I've got Doctor Who Wednesday. Tomorrow we have got the Dalek 2-part episode from Season 3, Daleks in Manhattan and the evolution of the Daleks. I'm really looking forward to reviewing that one. I really, really am. And next week on Torchwood Tuesdays, we are doing They Keep Killing Susie. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, my name's Kevin. I am a geek, and you have been watching Kevin the Geek. Goodbye.